Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. That's me. And I just want to say thank you, as I always do. Thank you so much for tuning in the many ways that you can to invest in yourself, to listen to all the tea that is being spilled on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region and beyond. And I say beyond now because we are in podcast format. If you haven't tuned into us in that form, that's global essentially, right? So you can tune in locally on social media as always. Well, that's not very local, but you can tune in on social media, and that's going to be on That's What She Said's Facebook page and also at WSGW's Facebook page on Thursdays at 1:30. You can also tune in on the radio waves, which is one of my favorite ways to listen, to tune in. Yes, I tune in to listening to myself. Anyway, so you can listen on Saturday mornings, and that'll be at 8 a.m. or Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. And then 24/7 where you receive your podcasts. We are on Spotify, Audible, and then Apple Podcasts. So and YouTube. Sorry, there you go. And YouTube. I recommend that one. Without further ado, I want to talk about timing. So as I do between That's What She Said days, I take a moment to reflect. I actually have been keeping a little bit of a journal. I'll say journal over diary. I've been keeping a little bit of a journal, just thoughts that kind of come to my head, or inspirational moments, or pieces of conversation that I've had in the past that can just flutter around, and you need to put them down on paper. And one thing that has come up in the last week is timing. When is the best time? And in the conversation I was having, it was, when's the best time I need to purchase a car? What does my credit score look like? What do I have, all of my ducks in the row financially to get this said vehicle? And then that conversation grew. Well, when do we know is the best time to purchase a house? When's the best time to, just do all of these larger items? And then I realized later, stepping back, that conversation was very money-based, right? We're letting our finances drive what we believe should be the next step. Then I thought, okay, let's take money out of the equation. When is the next time I need to work on myself? When's the next time that I need to pour into myself? When's the next time I need to go for a walk? When's the next time I need to say, yes, Christiana, you need to get up a little bit earlier and hop on that treadmill, girlfriend? When's the next time that we need to invest in ourselves? And you know what? The answer came down to now. What better time than now? So as you move through the rest of your week, I'd like you to think about, what is something that I can do right now? If that is going out and, looking at your finances and saying, it's time to upgrade the vehicle, maybe that's it. Or maybe you're just standing in your front yard and was like, all right, I'm finally going to trim these shrubberies. This is it. We're taking out the bushes and putting in flowers and turning the mulch over. Maybe that's it. Or maybe it's just Christiana getting up an hour early and hopping on the treadmill. Whichever it is, I want you to let me know if that's on Facebook or sending me an email, christiana.malagata@alphamediausa.com. I want to know what it is that you're going to do right now to push you to that next level in life. So without further ado, once again, we have an amazing guest. So this woman here is just completely multifaceted. She is truly, in my eyes, just a joy to be around, always giggly, but just a hard worker in a Renaissance type of woman. She just got it all. Just got it all. But let's talk to Alesha Martin-Lane. Hi, Alesha.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, actually. How are you?
I'm great. I first want to say thank you for coming on.
Of course.
And agreeing to be on That's What She Said and just share your story. I appreciate it. So, how might the community know you?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I wear so many hats. And if we can take a step back, the community first knew me as Your Makeup by Alesha. I was that person that said, you know what? I I don't want to work for a traditional employer anymore. I've done that for so many years. So my background is actually in telecommunications. So I am secretly just a little bit of a nerd, just a tiny bit. Love tech, love learning new things. I'm a consummate student, right? So at one point in my life, I loved learning about technology and all those different things. And that's still true to this day, which lends to some of the other things that I do now. It's funny how the past lays a foundation for what your future holds, and I didn't know that at the time. But I shift gears and I said, you know what? I'm super creative, and I want to live in my creative gene. I got laid off from my corporate job, and I said, you know what? I really want to tap into my creative gene. So I went to a beauty school and I learned how to do makeup professionally. And this was back in 2014 when no one was doing this as a business, right? So, fast forward, I moved away to Maryland. I came back to Saginaw after a couple years living in Maryland with my children. And I was like, you know what? I did that out there. I was a traveling makeup artist in Maryland for Estee Lauder. And I went to different Macy's and I did makeup. And so that's a whole past lifetime, right? So I came back and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time. And there was a bunch of controversy at that time because that was around 2016. And there was a controversy about doing makeup and doing lashes and all this and not being licensed. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll get licensed. So I went to school for aesthetics. And I happened to go to Transition School of Cosmetology out in Flint, which is connected to Mott. And I had always gone to school for a number of years. I went to Delta. So I had all these like credits and everything, right? So I said, you know what? Let me find out how close I am to actually getting a degree, some type of degree. So what I did was I entered into Transition School of Cosmetology. I got my diploma in aesthetics, and then I coupled that with finishing my associates in business administration. And so I finished my associate's degree in that time as well. And so I got my diploma in aesthetics. I then got licensed in 2017. And then a few months later, I graduated college. And I did this all at 39 years old, right?
Whoa. Okay.
So
That's a lot. That's a lot to take in
Mhm.
right there. So you're all right. Okay. So that is only one hat, and that hat is still in the works, right? You still do makeup.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So okay, you I'm gonna go back a little bit. You said something about you were a cosmate student, or what is this word you said?
And aesthetics?
In aesthetics?
Yes.
Okay.
So my
What is-
by profession, professionally, I am an esthetician.
Okay.
So I am a formally trained person who has learned everything about the histology of skin. And I literally do facial waxing, facials,
Yeah.
skincare. And then I took it a step further because at one point in my life, because I have so many different histories, so to speak. So at one point in my life, I was the assistant manager of a med spa. So I am formally trained in medical aesthetics as
Oh
well.
my goodness. Okay.
So I know IPL and laser hair removal and dermaplaning and microdermabrasion. So I have all that training as well. And then non-surgical, non-surgical.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of girlies on the other end of this saying, wait, I have a question about,
Right,
what's this
right.
peel? What's this hair removal? What's the, and all of it. Just recently I learned what sugaring was.
Oh, wow.
I didn't, there's so many things that you can do with this, with this degree in this field of, being an esthetician. But what is it that you do now?
Okay.
Primarily.
So, and it was non-surgical cosmetic surgery. So essentially what I do now is I've taken all this information and all this background work. So I take the tech side of me, I take the creative side of me, and this aesthetics world where I learned how to manage and take care of people's skin. And I've whittled that all into my brand, Lux Essence Wellness. So I am the owner of a small day spa called Lux Essence Wellness, where my partner and I, we specialize in holistic care. So I learned all of that about medical aesthetics. I learned all of that and applied that information. And I wanted to kind of take all of the chemical based things out of it, all of that. Not saying that it's not necessary in some ways, and all of those different modalities, and learn how to really use something to transform skin and results with my hands. So I now only specialize. So I kind of niched it down to that one thing. And so now I specialize in hair removal, and I'm known as the brow addict. So I do brows primarily, and I do Brazilians and do hair removal is what we do at the spa. And my partner, she does the massage therapy.
This sounds like somewhere I need to be. For those of you who can see us, I mean, our eyebrow game is kind of on point. All
They're
I'm
kind
gonna
of on
say,
point.
kind of on
Yes,
point.
absolutely.
So when you moved away,
Mhm.
what was it that brought you back?
Family.
Mhm.
So living in Maryland was eye-opening. It was great for my then teenage son, who was about 15 years old when we moved away. It was an opportunity for him to see the world. And I had my twins, Kaylin and Christian, and they were a lot younger. And they got the opportunity to experience a bigger place. Well, Maryland's not very big, but they got the opportunity to see diversity and multicultural things and experience what it was like to live somewhere that was a little place, but really big in its presence, right? The optics on, and we lived in a place called Towson, but it was just outside of Baltimore. And Baltimore is literally just a melting pot of food, vibes, excitement. There's always, I mean, literally every day something to do. And so they got to experience that when they were very, very young. So their eyes were open to what the world and the possibilities were. I am a big dreamer, always have been. I live organic. I feel like if there's something that I can do, I'm going to do it. I fear regret more than I do the outcome of failure, because that isn't an option for me. It's either figure out what didn't work and then try again, or try something else. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you let go of the other thing. You just figure out better ways of doing that thing.
Where do you think that part of you came from? You know, saying I'm better off just trying it and just going for it.
Mhm.
Where do you think that's rooted at?
Honestly, I come from a really great community. I'm from East Side Saginaw. I am born and raised Saginaw, and we are tough. We are tough people, and we are not easily broken. And even the parts of us that get chipped away a little bit, they just expose a deeper level of our beauty. And that's what I really, really love about my hometown and where I'm from, and where I continue to thrive and build businesses and build community and build relationships. I really, really like that about our little Saginaw town. And so I think that's where it ultimately comes from. It's just constantly within myself proving that, yeah, you are that girl. You are.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay to be that way. It doesn't take away from anybody else to say, yep, I am the most interesting person in this room. And guess what, Chris? So are you.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah.
cool.
That's neat that you said that.
Mhm.
I think maybe we've had a conversation about this, about, being okay with that level of confidence. When you walk into a room, it's like, yeah, I got this. I got this. So we're talking about the many hats you wear.
Mhm.
Can you describe another hat that you may wear that the community might know you in?
Absolutely. So the pandemic happens, right? And so I got all this stuff going on. 2020 is my year. I opened my spa. I literally did a whole build out on a building, and I opened my spa. And Big Gretch, love her so much. She says, you know what? No, it's not safe for you to do the very thing that earns you an income and that takes care of your 4 children. No, you can't do that. So that set me down.
Yeah.
And so it gave me an opportunity to really think about some of the other things that I'm good at. So I started actually making skincare products and selling different things. And in that, my daughter saw that and said, you know what? I can do that too. Now, in betwixt all of this, Kaylin, her teeth were growing in weird. Kaylin is my daughter, and we'll get to why that's important.
Okay, because we just kind of took a turn here.
Right,
Okay.
right. So we're gonna describe how Kaylin is the second hat, right?
Okay.
All right. So essentially, she saw me doing these things, and the fact that during the pandemic I couldn't earn money because I'm a business owner. I literally was an entrepreneur during that time. I had not worked for somebody else since 2018. I had full blown entrepreneur. So she saw what I was doing and wanted to help out. And so she started making kettle corn.
Kettle corn.
Yep. She
Okay.
started making kettle corn. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love popcorn. So she started making it for me to first make me feel better, help me feel better. And then me being like, oh, this is actually really good. You're getting really good at this, sis. And so we started selling it to my family.
The kettle corn
Yes.
during 2020.
So yes, and during 2020, the end of 2020, we started selling the kettle corn. Then we discovered I brought up her teeth because we discovered that Kaylin needed braces really bad. And so fast forward, essentially we started selling it to more than just family and friends. And I said, this is something that's going to be really good. And so we formed Cakes the Great Popcorn Company.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So you created something that wasn't there before.
Correct.
You've essentially, and okay, Big Gretch lover, right?
Mhm.
But you're in this situation. You're literally in a pickle here. You know, I'm in between providing my services. I have this passion to be an entrepreneur, and then let's just make some popcorn. Let's make some kettle corn to feel good about ourselves.
Mhm.
This is that ripple effect that I talk about. That's what she said. You poured this into and started this ripple effect of empowerment and community giving and entrepreneurship within your own home with your daughter.
Yeah.
And the fact that, now I'm gonna have to look at Kaylin. So her need of braces, this filled that void.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny. So she wanted to help out with paying for the braces is initially how Cakes the Great started. She wanted to make me feel better. That's why she started learning to make the kettle corn. And then I thought it was so good. And then we started selling to family and friends. And then by 2021, the recipe was really, really good. And so we formed her LLC at that point, or we got her incorporated at that point. And the following year, by that time, she had grown in popularity and people were really getting to know it. So the following year, we registered her domain and got her a website.
Oh my goodness.
And then we full-blown launched. We got her a website professionally done. Shout out to Sierra Allen. She's on our Katie's Cards. Shout out to Katie's Cards because she was one of the first people that actually allowed us to sell our kettle corn in her store. Shout out to Delicious Sweets, who also was one of those people who stood behind us and believed in our dream and journey. So a sisterhood of people who helped us out.
So did your daughter get her braces?
So funny story. So Kaylin needs a ton of work in her mouth. And one of the things that hadn't happened yet, and hasn't happened yet, she still has one baby tooth left. So we have to get her baby teeth out. And then she has to get her wisdom teeth that are growing in sideways. All of that oral work has to be done. then she can get her braces. So we're still actually 4 years later waiting on her body to develop or her mouth to,
Yep.
to be able to get the braces. So
Okay.
people ask that all the time. Did she get the braces? I'm like, not yet. We're still actually waiting
Well,
on
this
some
is
different
good
things to
though,
happen. Yes.
because she can test the popcorn
Mhm.
since she doesn't have braces on.
She can still eat the popcorn. Correct.
Okay, but
Mhm.
when those braces get on,
Oh, she's done.
no popcorn.
She's done.
Okay.
I'll eat it. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, if you need my help in any way.
Absolutely.
When I think of popcorn, I literally think of it being its own food group.
Mhm.
It can there's so many ways to dress it up, and
Right.
it's so easy. It's
Mhm.
so easy.
Absolutely.
So I have had I have had the popcorn, and several times, and I've shared my popcorn with people, and it's amazing. It truly is. The
Thank
talent that you
you.
have, and that your daughter has, it's great. But what I enjoy most, just here in the last minute, I'm going to say this. What I enjoy most about coming to your business can you tell us where you're located?
So we are located in the SBRC marketplace to kind of move past the story. So we ended up a year later in 2023 opening a storefront in SBRC marketplace and becoming fully licensed with the state of Michigan for packaging and being able to resell our product. So it has gone full circle, and we planned that in 5 years, and it happened in 2.
That's great. That's great. I love headed out to the SBRC building, and I love supporting. And you know what? I think we're gonna have to go for popcorn. So for those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking with Alesha Martin-Lane, and don't go anywhere, because we're coming back and we're gonna dive deep a little bit more into who is she, and what makes her tick. So stay tuned to That's What She Said.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
Hello, and welcome back to That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara. That is me. I have a wonderful guest with me today, as I do weekly. So if you are tuning in on the radio waves, it's usually on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. or a Sunday at 6 p.m. You can also tune in on WSGW.com at either of those times, or on YouTube. We have the whole collection of That's What She Said episodes on there. And a cool thing is we are actually going to hit our 1 year fairly soon. So whew, that was amazing. That was a good year. So back to this current episode. So thank you for coming back. We are sitting down with Alesha Martin-Lane, and Alesha was just telling us that she's an entrepreneur. She's a girlfriend who's just making it happen in the community, and based here in Saginaw County. So as a business owner of 2 businesses, so we have. Can you list your 2 businesses, please?
Absolutely. So I am the owner and lead technician at Lux Essence Wellness Studio, where I am a licensed esthetician, and I currently specialize in hair removal, body waxing, and skin treatments. We also have a massage therapist on staff. And then the second business that I co-own with my daughter, where I'm known as Mama Cakes, is Cakes the Great Popcorn Company, located inside the SVRC Marketplace, where we are Saginaw's only novelty popcorn shop here in the city.
And it's so good. It is so good.
Thank you.
There was one, and I can't. It was it like peanut butter and jelly flavored or something, or there was some type of. Yes, am I right?
It's not peanut butter jelly. We have a complete peanut butter one called Dada's Mix.
Yes.
So that's named after my daughter's boyfriend. He loves peanut butter and he loves Reese's, and he gave us this idea, and so his nickname is Dada, and we named it after him.
That's cool. Okay. We might have to collaborate and get a That's What She Said popcorn going soon.
I am all for it.
Okay.
I am all for it.
Y'all heard that.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the one, the peanut butter one. I could not, I mean, I've had so many. So
you have. You had literally opened, the store was closed. And this young lady called me, and we opened that store for her. Neither one of us was in Saginaw at the time. And so we had the maintenance guy open the store just for Christiana. So
Oh
that's
my
how special she
gosh.
is, and that's how much she supports our business. So we really appreciate that.
It's my honor.
Mm.
That was a fun day. That was a really fun
Yeah,
day.
it was great.
I went in there. I went into the store. I went into Cakes of Great in the SVRC Marketplace in Saginaw, and I was like, "Oh, they're not open." And I was just like, "You know what? I'm gonna text her.
Mhm.
Maybe she's around the corner. Maybe she went out for lunch." And you're like, "Oh no, like I am out of town. I am not in Saginaw. There is no one around." I was like, "Okay." And then the next message is, "But I'm sending down the maintenance man. Go ahead, go in. Let me know what you got." So we got it done, and I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we before we broke into the second segment here, you started telling me different people who have helped you and your family
Mhm.
essentially get to where you are now in and leaned on them. You know, you got support from them.
Yes.
When was the time in your life that you heavily needed to lean on someone to get to the next step?
That time is now, so to speak. Always, it's always good to have a conglomerate, a network of people that you can call on to say, "I need to talk. I need an idea. I need inspiration. I need you to buy this popcorn. I need a purchase order."
Yeah.
I need so that exists and always does, especially in the field that we're in, where we are constantly presenting ourselves, our brand, our everything about us, so we're always kind of on stage. And so that's always, we always have someone or something that we can say, "Hey, I need your advice. I need your opinion. I need your taste buds. What do you think about this?" And that's currently. And so when we first started, there were a couple of really good sisters that lended that hand, that let me know that you're not going to be able to do this by yourself, and you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. Not that I couldn't. You shouldn't have to do this by yourself. And so that was Sierra, now Crudup, and Sierra Allen, both of Katie's cards. And then Sierra's mother, Chris, also gave me so much good advice. So I had some really good people that said, "You know what? Here's what I think you should be doing. Here's some ideas for you." And I hit the ground running. I believe in living in a sense of urgency. I feel like the longer you sit on an idea, the more likely you're not going to do it.
Let's put a pin in that right there.
Mhm.
You live in the sense of urgency.
Correct.
Why?
Because the longer you sit on an idea, you won't do it. You won't do it. And then that's where that regret comes in. And that's one thing that I don't accept in my life. I don't allow regret to be the thing. I fear that more than failing.
Regret.
Yes.
Is there something that has brought you to this theory of, I'm just going to move forward, I'm just going to do it? Is there a time in your life where you did sit on an idea and just it passed you?
Oh, so many. None that I can really think of right now. I can think of when we heard our no, and it was when we were seeking financing for opening our store. And I said, "I'm not going to sit on this. I'm going to move forward." And so I had some really great friends who borrowed money or loaned money to me, and we moved forward. We opened Cakes the Great, the store that we're in now, with 3 whirly pops. And if you don't know what a whirly pop is, it is literally a pot that you cook popcorn on the stove.
Yes.
So we had no commercial equipment, none of that. We had a stove, 3 whirly pops, and a lot of ingenuity and work ethic. And I had some really great people that stood behind me. Tanisha Brooks is one of them. She owns a Selfish Selfie shop. She was there lending hand, building shelves. And my wife, she was there. She basically bought all of the shelving that we have in the store. And I had a couple of clients who believed in what we were doing. And they also gave us loans because we could not get financially backed. And so that was our first no. And I said, I'm going to move forward with this anyway, because God didn't put this on my heart to say, this is not going to happen. He just said, not that opportunity. It's not, that opportunity wasn't for you. You have to figure out how to get it out the mud right now.
Yeah. So there's another route to that goal.
Absolutely.
And you found it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because getting it out the mud just means that you're planting seeds for a garden. And so what I did was I just planted a garden. So my daughter, she doesn't necessarily have to get it out of the mud, even though she was right there with me tilling that soil. Everything that she's going to pass down in the lineage that we're creating, everybody's going to get it out the garden. Their flowers are being bloomed right now. We are making sure that we are laying the landwork for a multitude of our generations to say it's okay to do everything that you want to do, or do the things that are just within your heart, and it's okay to move forward with those things.
Where did this grit, this work ethic come from? Is there something that was in your childhood growing up that was like, I'm doing this and nothing's going to stop me? Where did that work ethic come from?
I've lived through some things. We all have a past, and I've lived through some things. I have unfortunately lost a child. I have experienced some domestic violence. I have made really poor choices at times. I have not treated myself in the best way. And I've lived through, and this is not my own quote, but I've lived through the worst times of my life. So that grit comes from the realization that some of the worst days of my life, I'm still here. And I thrive regardless. And so it is just a matter of leaning on the fact that I am that girl. and I was made that way. I was built that way. I don't think that anything that I've experienced and gone through, the things that I've learned, whether it be good or bad, the way that the foundation was laid out for me, whether it was rocky or it was solid, it's just literally layers upon layers upon layers. So the foundation was having a good home life. I grew up middle class, both parents. My dad worked at GM. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She worked when she chose, which is fine because my mom is great, right? So I grew up really good home, right? And then I decided to go out and kind of do some different things that led me down some different paths. But all of that led me to right now having this conversation with you. And I don't regret any of it. And so people may remember some of those things, and that's okay. That's okay.
What advice would you give to a woman who has gone through some troubles that you've explained, child loss, domestic violence, and you're coming out on the other end saying, this is who made me though. These are the pieces that made me the woman I am today. Where and what advice would you give to a woman who's thinking the exact opposite, right? You're over here saying, I'm in the mud at this point in my life because I'm planting seeds. And they're over here thinking, I'm in the mud right now and I'm never getting up. What would you tell her?
That storm, everything that you're going through is a seed being planted. And that storm that you're in right now is just watering it. That's it. That's literally it. And I don't not have fear. I literally have a tattoo on the side of my head that says blessed and fearless. Imagine being blessed and fearless. I just fear less than the normal person, and I act on that. And so I would say it's not a matter of not being scared. It's a matter of doing it anyway. So that's always been what I taught my daughter, what I've taught my boys, is to do it anyway, and do it without the proper resources. Do it without not necessarily knowing what you're doing. When we opened the store at SVRC, we didn't know what we were doing. We did it anyway. We were told, no, we couldn't get proper funding. We did it anyway. And now we're thriving. We're doing great. We have so many opportunities.
Let's talk about the store for a minute. Cakes the Great. This is a mother and daughter duo.
Correct.
Okay. So let's unpack that dynamic. Okay. Moms and daughters, there's always a love. There's always like, yep, that's my girl. But then we also know that the daughter is the spitting image of the mother in most cases. Like, ooh, and if I know anything about Alesha Lane here, you are a Spitfire. So what is this work dynamic with your daughter? How does this blend into successful business?
Kaylin is a Spitfire, but she is friendly fire. Kaylin is one of the sweetest people I've ever known. She is the spitting image of me as far as her work ethic, as far as being able to take advice and being able to move. And she moves with fear, but less. And then she moves in a sense of urgency. So those are the qualities that I have passed on to her. But Kaylin has qualities that she has just developed herself. She genuinely cares about how she presents herself. She genuinely cares about the community and the people. I'm not saying that I don't, but the way that Kaylin puts that out, the way that she wants to be a helpmate to me and to others. And she demonstrated that at 14 when she decided she wanted to help me pay for these braces. So that has just grown in the 5 years that we've been in business. And so Kaylin really has a fantastic dynamic of being this really super helpful, sweet girl who just wants to put out to the world everything that makes her great, which is where the name came from. So Kaylin is cakes with a K. So people are always asking about where are the cakes. I'm like, no, that's her name. That's the owner.
Yeah.
She's cakes and she's great. And I've always called her that. So we're like, we're going to name the business Cakes the Great Popcorn Company because it literally is who she is. She is this very sweet on the outside and then melt in your mouth kind of person, describing like the kettle corn. You know what? She has a hard shell, but it's really palatable. It's the best thing you're going to deal with. Kaylin will literally, you walk in and she's going to make you smile. She's going to giggle and she's going to light up your day. I promise you, if you stop in that store and just get a giggle from Kaylin, she's going to light up your day.
She truly is great.
Absolutely.
I had the pleasure of presenting her with a Heart of the City Award last year.
You definitely did.
And I went in and surprised her with the award. She was unable to make the actual ceremony. Right. And she was so giggly and so excited and just honored to be acknowledged. And it was the most genuine reaction. But either way, so let me reintroduce. We have Alesha Martin-Lane. She is an entrepreneur, a business owner, based here in Saginaw County. And I started out the conversation by saying she's multifaceted. There's a lot here, and we're learning that this is, growth over time. Okay. So I actually started out the episode and I said something along the lines of timing. When's the right time? So when we're talking about self growth as a woman, when do you believe the right time is to take that next step?
Oh, you said it perfectly. Now. It's okay to take a pause, take a beat, take a step back, kind of evaluate where things are. But like you said, you had mentioned that a lot of the decisions you were making were just centered around like finances and money and things of that nature. And maybe the bigger conversation is if you're pausing on different things because of financial bottlenecks, then the starting point is to now consider how can you fix those things so that you don't feel limited in what you're able to do when you want to get the new car or do the addition to the house, those kind of things. So it's about now and then taking a look at the bigger picture and whittling it down to that one thing that you can be effective in, mostly that makes the bigger picture happen, if that makes sense.
It does. And as women, we tend to be the caregivers for everyone else, right? And,
it's literally my job.
You
I'm still an esthetician. I still do that too.
You still do.
Absolutely.
Yes. That physical caregiving, the maintenance of a woman, right?
Absolutely.
Or man. And that upkeeping of, the entrepreneurship, the business owner, but you said you have 4 children?
I do.
Okay.
So Kayla has a twin brother, and I have 2 older boys. Everyone still lives here in Saginaw, and they're doing very well. I have 2 grandchildren as well, so I am a grandma.
Girl.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Yep.
This esthetician work is working. That's all I got to say.
The vibes are there. The vibes are there.
Okay. So, you're busy.
I am.
What do you do for you?
Holy smokes. I'm learning to take a step back. I literally just Monday took a mental health day. There was absolutely nothing wrong with me. I didn't feel sad or stressed or compelled to just sleep or any of that. I took a day because I give 110% of myself to every hat that I wear, because we haven't even talked about the fact that I do work for SVRC Marketplace part-time as their marketing specialist, which we may not even have time to go into, but I saw a need that other entrepreneurs needed to be amplified in the way that I amplify my daughter. So I took on that role to be able to do that in a greater capacity, which is what I do on top of Cakes the Great and on top of Lux Essence Wellness. So yes, I do find the time. I have the same 24 hours in a day that everyone else does. I just choose to use those hours a little bit differently. But yeah, I take mental health breaks. That's what I do for me. And I'm learning to do that because I am on a self-healing journey. I have been through a lot. And some of those chips that make the qualities of me and make me so beautiful and chiseled in the way that I am, they still hurt though. They still hurt. Losing my daughter hurts.
So a mental health day,
Mhm.
take me through what that day might look like for you.
Oh, honey, I stared out the window.
No, she didn't.
I did. I made me some gourmet tea. I love a good sandwich. I made me a sandwich. I went and got me some arugula and some focaccia and all kinds of fancy stinky cheeses and roasted tomato. I made me an awesome sandwich and had some chips and grapefruit. And that self-care day was about me doing things that I would not normally do for myself. I would normally go buy me a sandwich. It's probably going to be a fancy sandwich, but I would go buy me a sandwich. But I made me one. I toasted my bread. I took all the care in the world to make that. And I took pictures of it because, of course, content. And I'm a marketer. So I definitely did that. But I made me some fancy tea. And I wanted to try, I love tea with cream because apparently I'm an English girl at heart. And so I made me some really great tea and I put coconut milk in it instead of regular creamer because I wanted to see what that was like. And it was phenomenal. It tasted like a warm hug.
So at the end of the day, did you feel better?
I felt amazing.
Refreshed.
I felt like I literally had done something just for me. And I did absolutely nothing but made tea and a sandwich and sat around my house and enjoyed it. My couch, looked out my window and played with my little beagle dog. And I talked to my wife and I had a conversation with my son and I did the dishes.
Oh, that's right there.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
And it wasn't about being domesticated and making that all glorified or anything like that. It was just about a matter of just being normal for a day and not considering everybody else.
I have one last question for you. And in literally just one word, one powerful word, what would you say to women of the Great Lakes Bay region to empower her?
Fearless.
Fearless.
Fearless. That's 2 words, but you can hyphenate it. Fearless.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate you. Fearless. And those are the words of Alesha Martin-Lane. And that's what she said. Thank you for tuning in.